Hey everyone, how's it going? I thought I'd do a cool video today for you. It's going to be a long-term test review video of my penny board. So for those of you who've been watching my videos for a while now, you've probably realized that I've actually used the same exact board for the last 7 years. I got this guy in 2013 when I was in college, and it was an everyday driver, if you will, an everyday rider. I would ride it multiple times a day, every day, from class to class, and that was for about the first 2 years that I got the board. After the first 2 years, so the next 5, I used the board as more of a casual cruiser, so I would use it here and there just for pleasure, riding around in the streets and on the parks. Just to give you guys an idea of the amount of wear and tear on the board over the last 7 years. The board itself is completely original, so no modifications, upgrades, or spare parts added to the board. And if you can believe it, over the last 7 years, no maintenance has been performed on the board either. So, like I said, completely original stock penny board that I ordered in 2013 directly off the penny website. Within the video, we'll dive a little deeper into 3 different aspects of the board itself. We'll split it into 3 sections. We'll look at the deck of the board, the trucks, and the wheels. So those 3 components are kind of the 3 components that make up the board, and we'll take a deeper look into how those have held up over the last 7 years. So once again, this is going to be a real-world review, so I didn't clean the board up, I didn't polish it up. It's taken a beating over the last 7 years, ridden through rain or shine, really. So I just want to give you the best idea of how it's held up. So let's jump into it first. The first feature we're going to talk about is the deck of the board. The deck is made of a durable plastic material, and over the last 7 years, it's held up very well. As you can see, it obviously still looks like a penny board with that classic penny look. In most boards of plastic or wooden construction, a lot of times the first place you'll see wear or a failing of the deck is around the truck screws here. So screws here in the back of the board. As you can tell, there's no hairline fractures or cracks. Same with the front of the board over here. There's no hairline fractures or cracks. The bottom of the board as well. Nothing around the trucks. No failing of the deck around the truck area. You don't see any cracks or evident signs that the truck screws are stressing the deck. Now around the deck, there's some scratches and nicks and scrapes, but I mean, let's be honest, this is it's a skateboard, guys, and you're gonna have some minor imperfections, but this thing really takes a beating. This area right here probably takes the heaviest beating, and as you can see, that's what 7 years of wear and tear looks like. So really, I mean, it's held up magnificently, with that being the largest area that's taken the beating, and then at the front of the board too takes a bit of a beating. See if I can get the camera to focus properly on that. There you go. So that's the front of the board, and as you can see, very minor scratches and nicks and dents, and then same with along the sides of the board. So an aspect of the board that I think has actually changed for the better as it's aged over the years is the deck flexibility. As you know, skateboards don't have any suspension to cushion the road below your feet. So that suspension really comes in the form of the deck itself flexing. When you first get the penny board, the deck is definitely flexible, but as you continue to ride it and as the board gets older, the deck definitely increases in flexibility. So we'll do a little demonstration of how flexible the deck is now. So one last feature about the deck of the board is the grip. Pennies have never come with grip tape. It's just been this hatched raised plastic pattern on the deck itself. And as such, over the last 7 years, the grip really hasn't changed at all. Pennies, in my opinion, have never been the grippiest board on your shoes. But since there's no grip tape to wear down, the hatches from day one to 7 years later have kind of remained the same, and the grip on the deck has been pretty identical to when I first purchased it. So moving on to the next feature of the board, let's talk about the trucks. Now the trucks are what attach the deck to the wheels, and they are this white and red part of the board right here. These trucks, similar to the rest of the board, have held up excellent over the last 7 years. Now, like I said before, I haven't done any modifications, and I also haven't done any maintenance to the board over the years. And I mean, these trucks have been great. There's no sign of wear or tear, or there's no corrosion, there's no rust, there's no cracks, there's no defects on the trucks itself. Another thing that'll happen a lot of times to trucks on various kinds of boards is they'll get kind of creaky and squeaky. And I mean, as you can tell from my test ride videos and the riding clips in this video, there's no squeaks on the trucks, and they still truthfully feel just as good as they did on day one riding the board. Just a quick test to show you guys the operation of the trucks and to show you that there's no creakiness or squeakiness when using them. So last but not least, let's talk about the wheels of the board, and we'll also talk about the bearings as well. The wheels are the original wheels that were on the board when I purchased them. I will say that as the years have gone by, the wheels have lost a little bit of their original grip, which is pretty common for skateboard and longboard wheels. When you get them, they're grippier, and then as the years go by, they harden slightly and they lose a bit of their grip. So is the board rideable? Absolutely. And the wheels are 100% adequate, but the change over the years has been that there's been some grip that has been lost. Something you'll see on a lot of boards is, especially ones that have been ridden over a varied amount of terrain and rough roads and gravel and things like this, just like this board has, is you'll see chips or nicks coming out of the wheels because they're just silicone, and sometimes if you hit a rock the wrong way, it might take a big chunk out of the wheel. Well, I can tell you guys that on all 4 wheels they've been incredibly durable, and there's no chips or nicks missing, so they've held up really well. The only thing is they've lost just a bit of their grip. Moving on to the bearings. The bearings actually, when you first get the board, I think it's because the grease in the bearings most likely is still relatively new, so it's a bit thicker. The bearings themselves actually, after maybe the first year of riding it, really kind of open up and allow the wheels to spin freely and for quite a long time. Just a quick flick here and you can begin to see that wasn't a very powerful flick at all, and you can see how easily the wheels spin, and that's on all 4 of them. So that wraps up the components review of the board, and if anyone else has any other questions about how the board is held up or how an individual component is held up, feel free to comment down below and I'll try and get back to you. Just so you all know, this video is not sponsored by Penny. It was just 100% my own take and opinions about how the board has held up over the last 7 years. So overall, I mean, let's be honest, how many things can we buy and 7 years down the road not do any maintenance to it, not replace any parts on it, and have it still functioning just like it was new out of the box. So I've been incredibly satisfied with my board, with how it's held up over the years. So I would say if there's anyone out there curious about the durability, wondering how the board will hold up, and wondering if it's an investment that they're interested in making, or it's a product they're interested in purchasing, I would say 100% you can buy a penny board knowing that it'll last you for a long time. Well everyone, I think that kind of wraps up this video. Once again, if there's any questions or comments, feel free to comment down below and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful. Keep an eye out for more videos in the near future, and I'll see you guys next time.